The delivery of good quality housing that meets future demand forms a key strand of the overall strategy for Bodmin. There is an aspiration to provide for a good mix of housing, providing for the affordable housing needs, right through to a larger high-quality housing to retain the well-paid, skilled employees that the economic strategy is seeking to attract. Moreover, improving access to good quality, appropriate accommodation can help to reduce health inequalities. The housing targets. Bodmin is targeted with delivering 3,100 dwellings between 2010 and 2030. This target was set reflecting upon a number of factors, including the scale of affordable housing need within the area, the additional demand for affordable housing over the planned period, and to support the area's economic ambitions, which in turn will assist in delivering the town's regeneration agenda. At the time of writing, there had been 455 dwellings completed and further permitted development for approximately 1,482 dwellings. It is estimated that a further 130 dwellings could come forward within the urban area, which is priority before seeking to make use of greenfield sites. Completions, permissions and other urban capacity will not cater alone with the proposed level of growth, so sites on the edge of the existing urban area will be needed to cater for at least 1,030 dwellings within the planned period. Affordable housing, the big one. Low wage levels and relatively high housing prices result in many people struggling to get a foothold onto the housing ladder. At the time of writing, there are 1,086 families of the council on the council homes choice register that have a local connection to Bodmin, plus 811 families on the home choice register with a connection to Bodmin. As a result, all new housing schemes, including mixed-use schemes delivering a net increase of 10 units or more, must provide 30% affordable housing. Please refer to the Cornwall Local Plan for more information. Housing mix. Okay, in line with a certain policy 6 of the LPSP, larger developments of 10 units or more should provide a mix of housing sizes to reflect the needs of the local community, in doing so addressing affordable housing need and housing demand. Contribute to the diversity of housing in the local area, and okay, that all makes sense. Location of housing development. The search for housing sites started with identifying appropriate sites within the existing urban area, before searching for greenfield urban extension sites. This seeks to reduce the need to develop on greenfield land due to its importance as an agricultural resource and its amenity and landscape value. Urban sites. But they have already identified places. The assessment of appropriate sites has indicated that Bodmin's urban area has the ability to deliver up to approximately 1,300 dwellings within the planned period, which is predominantly made up of a selection of sites that either have permission or have been identified through the strategic housing land availability. Oh my god. It should also be noted that this urban capacity figure also includes dwellings that have already been completed since the start of the planned period. Okay, so what they're saying there is the sites that have already been allocated, that we've already said, Borough View area and the bit in between Walker Lines and Callywiff, etc. All that section that we've seen on the map that's where the 1,300 dwellings are coming from. It's the 3,000 or what have you that is going to have to be made up from the green space that they have identified. Dunmere Road. The site has an extant permission to deliver 280 dwellings. Castle Street. The site on Castle Street has been highlighted to deliver a mixed-use scheme. It would be anticipated that some of the employment uses would be positioned on the eastern side of the site. It is anticipated that the residential component to the site would have a density of approximately 35 to 40 dwellings per hectare, which could result in a delivery of approximately 150 dwellings. Contributions will be sought towards the delivery of the transportation strategy, green infrastructure strategy, and education. Some other bits. Old St Lawrence's Hospital site. The site has an excellent permission to deliver 820 dwellings. Okay, so this is now moving on to the urban extensions that we were discussing in the map earlier on. As a result of the assessment of land surrounding Bodmin's urban area, locations that would deliver at least 2,200 dwellings on greenfield sites have been identified, which will support the delivery of the targeted 3,100 dwellings for the town. So we've got Howgaver, St Lawrence's and Calliwith Urban Village. Whilst the combination of the urban extensions and the urban capacity would collectively deliver in excess of 3,100 target, it is anticipated that the lead in times and delivery rates of these larger sites will mean they will not be completed by the end of the planned period. As a result, all of the identified sites will be required to ensure the housing target is met by 2030. But finally, it will be expected that applications that sit within any of the urban extension sites will be accompanied by a master plan, concept plan for the entire site. Okay, so the sites that are identified, the three that we've just been talking about, that we were talking about on the map as well, there is more than enough room to fill up this quota that the council must hit. So it's good that the areas that they've highlighted are going to take us into past 2030. So we can actually see how Bodmin's going to look beyond 2030, really. If you imagine, say if it's 2040 and all this space is filled, at least we can see, and we've built a bigger plan than what's necessary, I suppose. Or if we zoom in, if you're listening, you can actually, it actually tells you, oh, hey, who's sitting on top of the beacon then, after I zoom right in. Okay, so we've got the Priory Road development, which is what they called it, which is up by Morrison's and Gilbert Road between Walker Lines, Castle Knight and the Calliwith side of, up to Calliwith, or Cookson Industrial Estate, I should say. That is going to have approximately 750 dwellings. You've got the Old St Lawrence's site, which is going to be 180 dwellings, and you've got Dummier Road, Borough View, which is 280 dwellings. The development that is next to that, which they're calling St Lawrence's, which kind of makes sense, is approximately going to be 780 dwellings, or Wellings here. Hey, Mr. D. That's funny. And then if we go down to Howgaver, which is the site I said that goes over towards College Green and then round the back of the college and the leisure centre, that is suggested to be 770 dwellings. And then if we go up to the Calliwith Urban Village, that is going to be 650 dwellings approximately. So that's roughly what they're suggesting with these greenfield sites. There's also a Castle Street site, which they're saying is going to be mixed use, so it might be some offices or something in there, but they're saying it's roughly 150 dwellings. So the Priory Urban Extension, it says at the time of writing, the site had recently been granted planning permission for 750 dwellings. Howgaver should deliver approximately 770 dwellings and an average net density of 35 dwellings per hectare. The site would not be required to deliver employment space due to it being located adjacent to existing industrial estates, although delivery of such space would still be supported if of an appropriate type and scale for a predominantly residential development. I suppose someone wanted to build like offices up there or something, then they could do that, I suppose. It wouldn't be turned away. But if they wanted to build Tulip, then that ain't happening, I'm guessing. However, the appropriateness of the site for the development is dependent upon resolving hydrological and transport issues. Firstly, the site would be expected to deliver an improved vehicular link across the railway line from Carmino Road to Westbourne Road and into the urban extension. Oh, that's interesting. It's an improved Let's have a look. Oh, okay. Oh, they're a bit cheeky, really, aren't they? When they put up these plans. Because it runs both sides of this. Oh, no. Oh, I see. So if you remember in the map, I get it now. Yeah, so on the map, remember when I said that there's a new link road that they're proposing to build from the leisure centre roundabout up to the bridge by Walker Lines. It's saying that anybody that wants to kind of build down there would have to also consider a road link to improve that. Whoo! They're not going to be happy about that, are they? That'll never happen. I can't see that happening. Secondly, initial investigations have shown that the site contains a number of springs, sinks and collects. Furthermore, the nature of the vegetation and the presence of numerous flowing ditches indicate that the site is likely to have a high water table. As a result, a sustainable urban drainage solution that would preclude an infiltration-based system should be planned as part of the development. It would be expected that 50.3 square metres per dwelling of public open space should be provided on site. The site should also provide a community hub that incorporates facilities necessary to create a high quality neighbourhood which existing residents can also easily access. Finally, it would be expected that the site would provide off-site contributions towards education provision and elements of the wider transportation strategy for Bodmin. These contributions will be through a Section 106 agreement or the community infrastructure levy if in place at the time of an application being submitted. Ooh. I wonder what a community hub idea would be. Someone leave some comments about that, please. Any ideas on what that might mean? St. Lawrence's. The St. Lawrence's urban extension could deliver approximately 780 dwellings at a density of 35 dwellings per hectare. Is that different to that one then? It's the same. That's probably like the maximum that's allowed or something. It's like, yeah, we'll just go to the max. The delivery of some office or light industrial space appropriate would also be supported. So they're offering that option. The site should incorporate a community hub again. And with a lack of public open space within appropriate walking distance of the majority of the site, delivery of an on-site facilities is important. It would be expected that 50.3 square metres per dwelling of public open space should be provided, offering a range of facilities in line with the green infrastructure strategy. So that's like when we was looking at that map, they had a big green blob almost that said that's kind of what they would suggest to hit that target, I'm guessing. Make a massive field, basically. The urban extension has been identified as the appropriate location to deliver a new primary school. The site for the school should be 2 hectares to allow for a 2-form entry school, although it is anticipated that only a 1-form entry school will be needed within the planned period. The construction of the school will be financed by contributions from this urban extension and other allocated housing sites. Finally, it would be expected that the site would provide off-site contributions towards elements of the wider transportation strategy for Bodmin. That's the same as well, so they would have to add in some roads and stuff. I still don't understand why that is an appropriate location. We're sending all the primary school kids to the other side of town when we need to make a stand on that. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just you're just going to be travelling all the way through town to get to bloody school. The urban extension. Callywith Urban Village now. The urban extension at Callywith has to perform 2 functions. The first is in enabling the delivery of employment space. This space should be placed on the eastern side of the site, which represents the most commercially attractive location to industry as a result of its proximity to the A30. In total, it would be expected that approximately 6 to 7 hectares of land should be set aside on this eastern edge of the urban extension for employment space. Oh yeah, so we mentioned that before. There's a blue area. Beyond the employment space, the urban extension should deliver a new neighbourhood which could accommodate about 650 dwellings. This is based upon a slightly lower density to the other urban extensions, with an average of 30 dwellings per hectare, to reflect the more rural nature of the site. The site needs to be master planned as a sustainable neighbourhood incorporating public open space and other community facilities such as a community hall and a small convenience store, if commercially viable. I don't see why they would need to have a convenience store. There's an Asda right there. Potentially. The site should provide 50.3 square metres per dwelling of public open space, including a park, natural space, equipped children's play space, etc., in line with the open space strategy. Fundamental to the delivery of the site will be the upgrading of Old Calliwith Road, Launceston Road Junction, to provide the capacity necessary for the development, particularly the economic growth. The urban extension should also be designed so that the entrance to the site and the main road running west to east through the site has the ability to deliver a vehicular capacity that would enable further growth beyond the urban extension site identified. The development should also consider other sustainable transport options, which could include the use of Helland Road and Berry Lane. Finally, okay, so that to me looks like if we zoom back up to the... Oh, where's that gone? Ah, there it is. Zoom back up to the map. If you're looking, you can see this is the area we've just been talking about. They're on about improving the junction here or here, probably both. Basically the roundabout just before you get to Asda, if you're coming from the A30. They're on about building a road here through the development that would be big enough to continue to build houses all the way east to west to the other side of the town. So that's the 100-year plan, I'm guessing, so that eventually what would probably happen is every time that they put in a new housing development scheme, so, next to what's already there, they would then have to extend that piece of road. Because there has been talk of a link road from the A30 over to Dunmere side to take you over towards Weybridge. And if you was able to do that by, a jump at a time over the next 50 years, probably get done. Not a bad plan. I can see what they're doing. I'm on to you guys. I get it. Makes sense. Excuse me. Makes sense. Instead of just going woof. Right. Are we done? St. Lawrence's. Here we go. Finally, it would be expected that the site would also provide off-site contributions towards education provisions and the transport strategy. So they're always they're just looking for people to, when they build these houses, help with improving transport and community. To ensure that urban extensions are comprehensively planned, it would be expected that they would be master planned prior to applications being welcomed. So they want a big plan for all of these developments before they sort of do one, I guess, because it will be broken up into smaller, if there's 700 houses going in, they'll do 50, and then do 100, and then do another 100. I'm guessing something like that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this spatial strategy section, which is, I don't know how long it's taken us now, but it's been a while, hasn't it? I hope you found it enlightening. I'll probably put this out on the podcast. I don't know how I'm going to do this now. If you listen on the podcast, it's probably just gone out in one big chunk. If you are watching in the videos, then I might break it down into smaller bits. But anyway, either way, I hope you found it interesting. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you can see a bit more on the idea and the plan of where Bodmin is headed. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I mean, you probably could have just read through this yourself, but I'm looking for more comments, etc. I want people to talk about this, and I want people's opinions, and I want to try and build a bit more, try and build a bit more community around this, potentially, if that's what people want. Any tips on how I could have made this a bit more interesting, then that would be a massive thumbs up. Maybe if I should have just researched it a lot more beforehand, that's probably something that I've got out of this so far. But no, I mean, it's quite interesting to read, isn't it? So, okay, right, well, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you next time, where we will be talking about infrastructure. Let's see how long this is, quick. 4 or 5 pages. Okay. Intriguing. Right, thank you. Cheers and gone.